Hoya pubicalyx, agroplants.org, also known as Waxflower. So before we start, don't forget to subscribe. And if you would want to grow these plants, there is a link below. Link is right top side. And if you purchase, this is donation for this channel. So Hoya pubicalyx, it's a succulent vine, and it's perennial evergreen, and it's used for the ornamental leaves, but also for, of course, for the beautiful flowers, and they are also fragrant. But when you grow it, you need to like the leaves, because if not, it's take a lot of years to bloom. So it's something that you should consider. So it can grow in a variety of climate: tropical, subtropical, Mediterranean, or you can also grow it indoor as a houseplant. In hardiness zone of 10B plus can grow outdoor. The leaves color green usually, and some cultivars can be variegated green with white leaves, but this is rare. I barely saw it in my life. The leaves are fleshy and waxy. The Hoya pubicalis flowers can be, of course, fragrant, can be in variety of color: bordeaux, pink, red, purple, white, or even rarely can be black. And this is something super rare, so if you have it, it's amazing. The flowers are also waxy. This is why it's called Waxflower plant, and in star shape. The little star in the middle and a big star in the outer. They are creating a shape of usually of a ball shape or umbel. It depends the flower itself. On the same plant you can see both. So how to grow it, and growing condition and requirements. So well-drained soil, high humidity, moist soil, spray water on the air roots, don't forget them. Possible to grow it in a hardiness zone of 10, but will be better with frost-free, and will need protection in the winter. Prefer more than 10 Celsius, it means 50 Fahrenheit, soft water, rainwater or clean water, and better to grow it in a container. How to take care? So fertilizer need at least once a year, but if you want to take care of it well, twice a year will be much better. And you can spray it on the plant. In cold winter, better not to put fertilizer. Put fertilizer for the bloom, and fertilizer with high content of nitrogen. In lack of nitrogen, the leaf will be yellow. So if you see yellow leaf, this is an option that you miss some nitrogen. When the plant young, need to put fertilizer that fit for growth. You also need to trellis it on something, and even better to hang it from the ceiling or somewhere high. Better when the plant whipping, because when it's whipped down, it's easier to the plant to grow it, and it's more impressive. When you grow it, you can start to grow it by plant, seeds, or cutting. Possible to do cutting, or even to bending a branch over and cover it with some soil and keep the soil moist. It's usually do the job. If you propagate it by cutting, possible to start by leaf or by stem. Cut the leaf or the stem. The leaf better to cut by hand. If you cut the stem, it's at least take minimum 3 leaves will be the best. Wait few days in the shade, and that the tissue will heal. And after this, put it in the soil and let it grow. The same condition as fully mature plant. Moist soil, slightly moist, and high humidity. Better to use a greenhouse and to do it in the spring to early summer. If you choose to cut it and do cutting and put it in the water, it's also possible. Cut the stem, wait few days before you put it in the water, then to put it in soft water, rainwater or clean water. And important to use the water that contain low concentration of ions. The moment that there are above 5 roots, consider to add some fertilizer. if not might die, and also consider to just transplant it to a soil. Except this, better to start by cutting, because very hard to grow and find seeds, and also it's hard to choose a color when you don't have a clue what you're gonna get. Difficult or problems, the plant is poisonous to humans, so don't try to eat it. Recommend planting season. So spring in hardiness zone of 10A, possible until midsummer, spring to summer in hardiness zone of 10B, spring to autumn in hardiness zone of 11, and all the year in hardiness zone of 12 plus. The main problem is that mostly when you buy this plant, it's go out of a greenhouse, and it might cause some problem. It's when you take it out in a colder season. Major pests are aphids, mealybugs, and fungal. A pruning season can be all the year, but better after blooming, and better to cut only dead parts, leaves, stems. Don't really, better not to cut it. This is the truth. The size of the plant usually it's between 1 until 4 meters, so it means 3 until 12 feet. In amazing condition, it's medium growing speed, and usually when it's young, it's slow growing speed, and this is normal. Requirement of water, it's average amount of water. Take care to spray some water on the air roots. Better to use soft water. Let it dry between watering, and also before blooming season, let it dry a little bit in the nature before it's bloom. So it arrives the dry season, and then it starts to bloom. So this is what will cause it to bloom, that you will just dry it a little bit. It's help. I saw that it's also bloom without it, but they say that it's help. Light condition, it's full sun, possible to grow it, but be aware that might need a little bit a shade, depend where you grow it. If you have high humidity, it will prevent the leaf burn in the sun. Half shade will be better without midday sun, because then you will have enough light and it won't burn the leaf. Full shade, it's possible, but need to know that without enough light, the plant will never bloom. And the plant need a lot of hours of indirect sunlight in order to bloom. The most important thing that you need to know to have enough light, and better with sun, 75% of sun or filtered sun by the net or window will be the best result on the flowers. Also, when you grow it on a tree, possible to use deciduous trees. It means that they go to dormant in the winter, and then it's much better. Shade, it's create shade in the summer to prevent sunburn and give enough sun in the winter. And not possible in hardiness zone of 10A, and better not in hardiness zone of 10B. As I said before, it's possible to grow it as indoor as a houseplant, but in order to bloom, need to be mature. That means that take place to grow. Better not to cut it if you want flowers. How to grow it indoor? So the major things that you need to know when you grow it indoor, that you need to choose location with a lot of sun, a lot of light with sun will be the best. Artificial home light won't be enough, and need to be aware that the plant need to be far away from ventilators, heaters, and air conditions. It dries the plant and it kills it slowly, so you won't notice, but one day you will just discover that the plant's really suffering. Possible to grow it in the bathroom. Be aware that because of the high humidity, need to use less water. Just put less water, fertilizer to put not only on the soil, also on the air roots, and hang it from the ceiling or something like this will be amazing. Okay, so don't forget the plant prefers 60% of humidity will be great, and if you want to grow it from in a container, start with a pot. It doesn't like the transplanting so much, so it's something that need to consider. Although I like to transplant the plants when it's grown, but this one you need to choose. It doesn't really matter the main container because it's actually have roots, air roots, and these roots are enough. Just you need to fertilize them to give them humidity or water, and don't forget that the plant need well ventilated and well drained soil. Also, don't forget to use soft water, it's much better. Except this, put at least twice a year fertilizer, liquid fertilizer on the air roots. Just you spray it on it. It's really important when you don't grow it outdoor, or actually when you don't grow it in the nature, like on a tree or something, because there is limitation of the amount of nutrition that the plants can get without help, and because it's not in the right place usually, so you need to add the fertilizer. And again, like in the beginning that I explained, when you grow it by fertilizer, it's something that you need to consider, that by the situation of the plant you need to fertilize. So it means that if it's small, you need to fertilizer to increase the growing speed, and if it's going to bloom, so put fertilizer for blooming. So blooming season. So usually it's spring to the summer, rarely in the autumn, and usually between 5 to 7 years, it might bloom, because it might take longer, even 20. It needs a condition in order to bloom. So if it's not bloom after so many years, you should check what you've done, how you can improve the way, so how to get to bloom. So when the plant is not blooming, need to give the plant the right condition. Even the given right condition and won't bloom, consider to change the condition. So it means that if what you try is not good, just try something else. Maybe it will work. Of course, be patient, at least 1 year for each trial. Young plant won't bloom. Again, it can take 10 years even. If you start from seeds, can much more than if you start by cutting by plants that already bloom. Transplant and changing location. It might want effect on the growth, but the plant it's really bad for the blooming. So if you're gonna transplant it, be aware that you will affect on the bloom, and this effect might take a few years, even until it will bloom again. Winds. The wind, it's also a catalyst to kill the plant. It causes some drought for the air roots. So if you have a lot of winds, spray a lot with humidity. Light. When you don't have enough of light, lack of light, especially before the blooming season, can prevent the bloom. Missing of nitrogen, easy to notice by the leaves that are turning yellow. It's also a problem when you miss some nutrient and fertilizer. Better to buy fertilizers that will help the plant to grow. Water, when you put too much water or not enough water before the blooming season, again, you don't need to water it. It might have negative reaction on the blooming, and the plant might won't bloom. Humidity. If you don't have enough humidity, it's reduce the amount of flowers. Container size. If the container is too much small, and you don't, the roots don't have enough place, it might also affect. This is why you should, based on the air roots. And again, if you grow it indoors, there can be a lot of problem. If you want to grow it by seeds, you have more information in growplants.org. This plant, it's certain beauty. I don't see any reason why not to grow it for the beauty. But if you want to grow it and you are afraid that it will never bloom, I think that some plants are worth to risk for them, and this is one of them, because this is beauty. It's really pure, beautiful flowers. It takes time, but when it's bloom, it's just so much pretty. And you should try it if you want, of course. That's all from growplants.org. Don't forget to subscribe, visit our website, and of course, if you have any question, just ask. You have here links about more videos, some lists, subscribe, and of course, purchase a plant, and this is donation for our channel. I hope you enjoy, and come visit us again.